He runs diesel engines so they don't go choo-choo. UP trains are yellow and DMEs are blue. Dustin Go Railroad, where the railroad comes to you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the layout room. Dustin here. If you noticed, I haven't been on a lot lately. And as you notice, it's dark in the layout room. Kind of metaphorical right now. The light that is on, the single bulb, that's all that's been on for the past 2 months in this room. Just want to explain why I haven't been on any live streams, why I haven't been around much in the train community. Things started back at Thanksgiving. We went down to see our relatives 3 hours away, my wife's family. And we were there for Thanksgiving, and it was great. The next day, Black Friday, that was great too. Friday night, my son had a headache and was running just a little bit of a fever. Nothing major. Gave him some Tylenol, he went to sleep, had a restful night. Next morning, he came down, still had his headache, and he was a little bit warmer. So my wife and I decided, let's pull up ship and leave. We're going to go home a day early. And so that's what we did. It's only a 3-hour drive back home, so nothing bad, just into the next state. And when we got home, by the time we got home, my son was feeling great. Fever had broken. He was his old self. Things went well. 2 days later, my wife got sick, tired, just dead. And then she noticed she couldn't smell anything. Now, we all know what that means and what we're going to talk about. It's that word that YouTube doesn't want to hear. Sparky calls it the showstopper. Needless to say, my wife went and got tested. She was positive. So we took myself and the kids. My daughter had viral crap, so we were expecting it to come back positive. She was negative. My son was asymptomatic positive. That's what had gotten him sick for a whopping 12 hours. That's all he had. I was spared, but I had 3 sick people in the house after Thanksgiving. So my wife and my son were quarantined at home. I went to work, but took care of things as much as I could. Worked from home to help out. And then after the 14 days of quarantine, or 2 weeks of working for my wife, she went back to work. And worked about 3 days. And then I got a call from our chiropractor, because she'd gone in for her back to get adjusted. Her chiropractor said we adjusted her back and everything, and her neck, and all of a sudden she's dizzy, and she is feeling like she's getting a migraine. I don't think she can drive. Can you come up and get her? I think you need to take her to urgent care. I ran a few tests. I checked her blood pressure. I think you need to get her to urgent care. So I went and got her, took her to urgent care. She could not walk, which she has migraines in the past. Nothing bad. Nothing debilitating, but it was bad. Took her to urgent care. She told them what her symptoms were. Her blood pressure was high, but when you're in pain, your blood pressure is high. Nothing major. They did some tests. They gave her some stuff for the pain and the migraine. Helped a little bit. They helped her with her nausea, but she still felt pretty miserable and pretty tired and pretty weak. They said with the blood pressure, they didn't have the stuff to check her, so they would at least like her to go to the ER from urgent care and just get checked over and make sure everything's clear. So after 5 hours in the ER that night, my wife had a CT scan. The doctor said nothing looked out of place. All that, treated for a migraine. She said she was feeling better. She just wanted to go home and rest. Doctors agreed. So at 1:30 in the morning, I brought her home. I said, I'm going to work from home tomorrow again, because I can, just to make sure you're okay, because she's not working the next day. We're working, and also at 10 o'clock, we get a call from the hospital. The neurologist looked at her CT scan. She needs to come back right away. Long story short, we get there, find out that one of her blood vessels to the brain was leaking. Not bad, but they were putting her on stroke protocol just so they could prevent her in case anything happened. Vascular surgeons came in and said, hey, we're not going to patch it. It's too tiny of a hole. We could do more damage than good by trying to fix it. We're going to CT you, even if it's the worst case scenario. We're not operating, and we'll check back in a month. And if it's not healing, then we're going to have to operate. So they went to do an MRI to get everything closer and make sure everything was looking good and get a good picture of what was going on. That's when they found out my wife had had a stroke. 3 days in the hospital right before Christmas with my wife. Couldn't see my kids, couldn't do anything. I'm taking care of everything. Thank God we had family come and help us. My in-laws came up for the day we were supposed to spend Christmas, and they got to see her for half an hour in full gear in a hospital. but that's all they could spare them. And we got her home. Thank God it was in a place that doesn't do any damage. Her only problem was a little bit of memory loss, short-term memory issues that they said would recover. And there was no real heavy damage. In fact, she had full freedom to walk around, and she had no restrictions placed on her at the hospital, so that was good. It's taken us till about a week ago to get life back to normal. My wife is back at work. She's been back since Christmas break ended, but she was working a lot more with some restrictions and getting rest and getting help. But then her workplace was very accommodating because they knew we couldn't afford to have her, because she's in a job right now where she doesn't work, she doesn't get paid. There's no vacation, no sick time. That's just the luck we have. So they were very accommodating and got people in to help her out when she needed it. But she came back because she was determined to work. Like I said, it took about until a week ago before things got back to normal. Things are back. I haven't been in the trade room because this has been so overwhelming to me. I know I'm not the only one going through this. So 2 things. I have got plans. The thing is, I haven't been anxious to get in here because some of the working conditions, I'm not saying conditions, but my working area is not as optimal as I'd like it to be. I've made plans to change that, and hopefully by the end of this weekend, I'll have a video up showing what I've changed. The lights will come on again, hopefully by the end of the weekend. The only other thing I want to stress to you is non-train related. If you did have this disease or this virus, and I'm not in here to debate vaccines and all that stuff because the virus is very real. I don't care about right now the whole what you believe and what you don't believe in your ideology. That part I don't. If you were sick, at least follow up with a healthcare professional, because we're learning things that we did not know in the aftermath of this. Yes, chiropractors sometimes get a bad rap because all the neck adjustments can cause the same exact injury my wife